Muy bien. Ok, ahí sí estamos comenzando a transmitir. Em, Muy bien. Estamos en vivo. Eso, estamos transmitiendo. Voy a apagar esto para poder hacer. Muy bien. Estamos ahí. Un gusto estar por aquí con ustedes. Ya se están conectando algunos amigos, amigas. Les decía que estamos haciendo esta serie de webinars hablando del cultivo, avanzando en el cultivo. Y en este día de hoy tenemos no sé, algo muy especial. Vamos a conocer a Diogo y Wiebke, que son cultivadores de Portugal, una pareja que se juntó, construyó sus máquinas desde un punto de vista, digamos, bastante artesanal y fueron creciendo. Y ellos nos van a compartir hoy un poco cómo ha sido esa experiencia. Y ellos son los socios que tenemos en este nuevo curso de cultivos líquidos, o sea, cómo hacer tu semilla basado en cultivos líquidos que les hemos estado presentando en este tiempo, ¿no? Entonces, es un gusto tenerlos, es un gusto tener aquí pues a Diogo y Biel, que vamos a esperar que se conecten un poquito más de amigos, amigas, para darles la bienvenida a Diogo y Biel, que pues bueno, van a estar por aquí dentro de muy poco. No olviden, amigos estudiantes del curso, que después de esta pequeña sesión, Diego y Biel que van a hacer una presentación sobre su experiencia en el cultivo y después vamos a tener una sesión de preguntas y respuestas junto con los estudiantes del curso, ¿no? Entonces, eso es lo que vamos a estar haciendo dentro de poco. Muy bien. Vamos a comenzar aquí. Vamos a darle la bienvenida a mi querido Diogo y Wiebke, que van a estar muy pronto aquí en la pantalla con nosotros. Voy a aprender aquí. Este, Vamos a hacer un en vivo por acá. Hola, hola, ¿qué tal? ¿Cómo
Ah,
estás?
todo bien.
Diogo, Wiebke, how are you? Nice to see you
Nice
here
to see you
again.
as well.
So we are waiting a little bit to our friends to come into the transmission, and also we have some of the students of the course coming into the Zoom in a minute, right? So how are
Exactly.
you? How are you? Where are you right now?
At the moment, we are in the island of Malta. That is a little bit south of Italy. We
Okay,
are living here since the beginning of last year. Yeah, and it's been pretty good.
nice.
It's summer weather.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
We went for a swim today, actually. It's winter here, and the temperature is quite nice.
nice. That's a great. Aquí los amigos que estamos en el live de Instagram, vamos a conectarnos a YouTube, que está en el link del bio, ajá.
Uh-huh.
Entonces, we're transmitting a live session into Instagram too, so
Okay.
they have to go to YouTube. So um, we met, and that was something incredible in the moment when I met you, because I was like looking for more mushroom people in my life there in
Yeah.
Portugal, and I remember I saw your bags of spawn or waste or substrate, let's say,
Uh-huh.
in your garage, and that was like a sign of heaven or something like that, and that
What's
was
going on here?
so familiar to me. And then we met, and that was I would say an incredible story. And then we start talking, and we, let's say, we make friends of each other,
Yes.
and then we make a course together. So that's what we are presenting, but actually right now the important thing is to know you guys a little bit more, and that to the people that is seeing us today can also know you, meet you, and learn a little bit more about you, your story, and your cultivation passion. What have you been doing in this space?
Sure.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
Are we still waiting or shall we start?
I think we can start. Let me yeah. Okay. Maybe, yeah, we can. Do you want to share, or how we can? You can introduce.
yeah.
Yeah, maybe we introduce ourselves first, I would say. I would suggest.
Okay.
First.
So Maybe also to our background. So I come from landscaping, and I was working with permaculture, with gardening. So that's my background. And
Yeah, my background it is a little bit different. I come from engineering, and my profession is aircraft mechanics. So yeah, but I was always interested in agriculture and food production, and always very curious about everything. That's also why I came into the mushrooms.
yes, and when we met actually in 2021, we kind of started the mushrooms together. It was one of our projects that we started together.
So you met in 2021.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, wow. So I met you in 2022.
Yes.
Wow. So you start like cultivating mushrooms like
Pretty
since the
much.
beginning?
Pretty much immediately.
Oh, that's great.
Half a year, and we started this project
Yes.
together.
Nice.
Started
Nice.
experimenting in autumn 2021. Yeah, like getting to know mushrooms, diving into it, because like my reason was to do the project because I was already a bit in food production. I'm interested in it. I wanted to know more about it, especially about mushrooms, and I was also interested in feeding the community and the neighborhood and see what value we can bring in terms of food also to the neighborhoods, because it was also a new neighborhood for me, so it was also a good moment to connect.
Yeah, for me
Yeah.
it was basically I got fascinated from the first time I bought a grow kit, and yeah, I was just blown away to see it growing and how fast it was. So I got curious to learn more, and yeah, after I discovered like these properties that I didn't knew existed in mushrooms, the one that fascinated me the most was lion's mane, and yeah, I saw like my brain like started to explode on what could be possible.
So your first mushroom was lion's mane?
No. Our first was
Oyster. Oyster, yeah.
This was oyster, but the goal, we always tried to produce lion's mane since the beginning, but it was very difficult for us. Like we got a lot of contamination, and maybe it was a good thing because it made us improve our methods and improve our facilities and instruments. Yeah, until in the end we
And-
managed to
And
grow quite a lot.
how do you met, or how do you start using liquid cultures in your cultivation? Because it wasn't like the first thing, or was like a evolution, or how was that?
Yeah,
Maybe we start with the photos then also at the side. If that's
So
okay.
maybe we can start. So you can share the screen, I think. Yeah, you are able to. So I will be here, and the space is yours right now. Let me know if you can.
So we can go a bit more detail, and we can also visualize.
Yeah, we prepared a little presentation.
Yeah.
Actually, Wiebke did all of it.
Nice, nice, nice. So, solo una cosita para los amigos que nos están viendo. Toda esta presentación va a estar disponible con subtítulos en la plataforma donde tenemos pues el curso, ¿no? El curso lo pueden encontrar en el link de bio de Instagram, aquí lo tenemos también. Y nada más, pues les damos el espacio a nuestros amigos. Show is yours, my friends.
Okay. So.
Yeah, this
So-
is how it started.
This is the first picture we made on the left side of Diogo. Yeah, that was the first thing we actually got when we started, when we had the idea was, okay, where can we do it? We can do it in the garage. That's the only place we have at the moment. And we got the Flowhood. Like Diogo ordered the Flowhood, everything he needed for it, and then build it together.
Yeah.
And that was the first thing we had and started with. And we bought some grow kits to grow them, to see with that a bit the process, and also to use them to inoculate in front of the Flowhood our first sterilized substrates. And for that we use coffee, as you can see in the bags. So we did also the thing we were learning with YouTube and books when we started this. A course would have helped a lot, actually. That would have been a shortcut, but at that time, that was at the kind of beginning, middle of the pandemic. And I think looking back, our mindset was not yet, okay, we can find an online course. The knowledge is just packed in the course. I think Corona pushed this a lot so that now we can find the knowledge packed in workshops and courses. Exactly. So we started with books and with YouTube videos.
Yeah.
So, and with that, we got inspired. We started also to go to cafes and collect coffee, the sterilized coffee, and use it as a substrate. Yeah, these were our first steps. And we started with the oyster mushroom because we knew that the oyster mushroom is easy to grow. Exactly. So we started with books and with YouTube videos.
We are listening to ourselves. I think now is good. Yes, you can see in the photo here, the bags have the coffee grounds. And we tried it for months. We were successful with this technique, but we ended up with a lot of contamination as well. Our rate was not so good. We couldn't control the coffee is an amazing substrate, but we couldn't control the cleanliness of the coffee when we picked it up. We would always ask for it to be only 1 day old. But I mean, it was very difficult to make sure that it was indeed 1 day old. Sometimes we would already pick it up and it was already
Nelson is giving a webinar.
Okay.
And he asked me to log in.
Okay.
Because also, interesting enough, on the way, people were so excited about it, about the project and the cafes, that they started to collect more and more coffee for us. So it would be already old when we collected it, but it was just because they had a good intention. But yeah, it was really nice. But so that we had to deal with a lot of contamination.
Yeah. It's a low cost way to do it, actually, because I mean, the substrate is for free, pretty much. And if you have it in your neighborhood, if you live in a city, is quite a good option.
Sorry, I have one question, maybe. Also, amigos que están aquí dentro del Zoom, si tienen una pregunta, creo que pueden levantar la manito y ahí vemos si podemos interrumpir con una pregunta a Diogo y Wiebke. And guys, I just want to ask, how long do you use coffee? Because later you change it, right? Or how long do you use it?
I think I'm not sure, but around 3 or 4 months we kept the coffee until we understood that it was not a viable option to produce in a big scale. Also because of what I said before about the contamination. I mean, because the substrate was for free, but then we had to collect we were collecting, I believe, twice a week. And we were going around the city with the car. And at some point, we realized it was not profitable. It was not a viable option for us because the amount was not so big, and more than half we would have to throw away. And just one coffee could be bad. And in the end, we were mixing all of it together to create a big quantity. And yeah, it didn't work out as we expected.
But we were still at the beginning of the learning process, so we needed some time to figure it out.
We were not sterilizing the coffee. The pasteurization, when the coffee is taken, like an espresso, is enough if it is used in the or in the same day or the day after. No more than that. If it is more than that, the mycelium or the spores of contamination grows much faster, and then it stops. It prevents the mushroom to grow, and we don't have a successful fruit.
Okay. So then we started to to build our first rooms in the garage for the fruiting, to have a proper fruiting room. So, and this is the first picture. So we used a wooden sticks.
We bought in a normal hardware store. We try to keep it as much low cost as possible. And as you can see, we use these wood frames. We attach it to the ground and to this wood beam on top. And then we covered it in a plastic film, or this plastic around that you see. Also in the floor and on the ceiling, to create like a clean area.
And that we can control with the oxygen and the humidity. And so this space turned out to be 4 square meters.
Yeah, it was very small.
We're very small to start.
We just had a small corridor on the side to pass.
Very sure.
I think, yeah.
Yeah. So these are the photos in the construction. You can on the left side, you see it from the other side. It was still open. So that was our first shelf we had. That's kind of the space. And then Diogo was installing the sensors, all the electricity, the light, the humidifier that you can see here in this box on the left side, and automatized the processes. So we had also a timer. So we don't have to switch on and off the light. It would do it automatically. Anything else that was installed that time?
Yeah, pretty much light was automatic, and humidity was also automatic. And we had a small ventilation, as you can see in the box. The tube has a small fan. That was the only air entrance we had to the fruiting. And you will see in the future, we'll have another photo of an upgraded fan, because this was not enough. We didn't have enough air circulation. This was actually the photo on the bottom.
With the amount of mushrooms we grew.
Yeah.
At the beginning it worked, but
Yeah,
then... Yeah.
but even here in the bottom, you see our first mushroom, actually. It is not the prettiest,
It
but
is
we're
actually
very
nice.
proud of it. And yeah, you see, it's not that healthy. Something was going on. Probably the air was not enough. But we were always learning, always looking forward to improve, and that's what we did. In this case, you can see already the Flowhood in the same place as it was before. I have a question, Nelson. You wanna ask?
Yeah. Let me put this up. In the last one, you have there a shelf, right?
Yes.
Do you want to use that shelf for mushrooms, or was just for the tools in that moment? Because you use it later like PVC tubes, right?
Yes.
In that moment, that was what we had. We really tried to build with low cost, and just to use what we have. So there was a metal shelf, and we wrapped it up with plastic foil, so that
Yeah.
it was protected from the humidity.
It was already there. We didn't have to buy it. So we just tried out with what we had, basically. Yeah, in the future, you already saw it in a different state, where it was the PVC tubes, and it was already all around. Yeah, that was improvement. It started like this, small and just on shelf.
So then the next big step we made was to build the lab. So you saw the Flowhood was there already, and now we built a lab around it. So we had 2 rooms. We had one, you will see later on the plan more properly. We had one small room we could enter to change clothes, to put on the coats and the mask before we would enter the lab. And that's the lab. So it was basically a table, the Flowhood, then the boxes we needed. Yes, we would spray it with a bit of bleach mixed with water before we go into to disinfect it, and then we would leave the Flowhood on to circulate, so that we wouldn't breathe in the bleach right after. And that was the big step, because now we could also start to inoculate first, like better in the way of decreasing the risk of contamination in front of the Flowhoods. And also we started to play around and experiment with agar, with liquid cultures, as you can see here on the top. That's a liquid culture. And then also we produced our own spawn with a liquid culture. So in the photo on the bottom, you can see our spawn. So with the liquid culture, we inoculated the jars with the sterilized grain. And then with the with the grain of the jars, we inoculated the spawn bags, the bigger ones. These are 2 kilo. So we did that to control better if the liquid and the spawn is healthy, the mycelium in it, if it grows well, if it's healthy, if everything is okay, and then also to expand it in a
Yes.
quicker
Basically, it was to check out first the vitality of the mycelium and if it was not contaminated before we would expand it. Instead of it was basically, if it was contaminated, we would just trash a little bit of grain instead of a big bag.
Yeah. And as you can see here as well, we drilled the lids of the jars with 1 or 2 holes and then taped it with micropore
tape.
Yeah. So
We find out it worked very well. It keeps it breathable and is small enough not to let any contamination in, and cheap. You can find it very easily in pharmacies, accessible.
And we used, sorry.
Sorry. And you use what?
We used the fridge, which you can see on the photo. So we had a broken fridge, and that we used as a shelf. And in winter, it was amazing because when we closed it, the mycelium was growing, it was producing warmth, and it would keep itself kind of warmth in that fridge. We would have to open it from time to time also to check it and then also to exchange the air, but that helped a lot. And in summer, we left the door open and used it as a shelf and just made sure that the bags actually wouldn't touch. Here on the photo, it was in winter, they would touch because it wasn't as hot as in summer.
This, to be clear, the fridge was not working. So the cold or anything, it was
broken.
Yeah.
Just let's say it's really low cost, but efficient. I mean, really efficient.
Yes.
Yeah.
We
have here 2 questions. Sorry, I can read it and maybe you can. So Ivan nos dice, in reference of ventilation, do they have any level of control or measure about this variable, the ventilation?
The ventilation, we didn't add a measure. We tried to install a CO2 sensor, but we find out that we didn't need it. Well, in the beginning, our level or how we analyzed it was from the healthiness of the mushroom. If we saw that it was going long, we knew that it was lacking oxygen, and then we would increase the amount of ventilation. And we realized that it was obvious after we knew that the more bags we had in the fruiting room, the more ventilation we needed. You'll see in the future photos that instead of this shelf, we will have shelves all around, and like the capacity for these 2 square meters, we needed a lot of ventilation, but we never measured. We just checked from the mushroom itself.
Okay, nice. That's really interesting. Like you use the mushrooms as a sensor, sort of.
Yes.
Here, Maria, second question, Maria dice, hey, congratulations, it's very interesting. Nuestra amiga María de México que está en Italia, ojalá nos veamos pronto. Okay, Maria, I would want to know what is the temperature generally is in this place. Do you have the temperature artificial? About the temperature, that's all. Yeah.
So basically, we didn't have it ventilated, or sorry, we didn't have it temperature controlled. This installation is in Porto, which is near the sea, and the temperature never falls, or I will not say never, but it's very rare to fall below 5 degrees in the winter, and even 5 is low for Porto. And in the summer, maximum is 30 degrees. In the summer, we struggle a bit, to be honest, and we try to cool it down. 30 degrees for oyster is already a bit hot, and we were starting to see it turning yellow. And what we found to help was to put buckets of water inside on the floor, like a big surface area of water. that would help to keep the humidity up while the water is evaporating and cooling down the air. We also put plastic bottles of water in the freezer and put and doing ice with it, and then putting these ice bottles in the humidifier water. That helped to cool down the air that was going into the fruiting. We only needed it in the summer.
Yeah, and that was mainly for 1 month for August. That's a critical. And then we also realized we did that one summer, and we also realized maybe next summer we would definitely slow down in that period.
Yeah.
And then use the temperatures that are better and optimal.
Yeah, this garage you cannot see, but the roof, this is very low. There is no isolation to the outside. The roof is just a small metal roof, very thin, and basically it doesn't isolate, and does even the opposite. Okay, it's like a greenhouse effect, and it's like a heater, pretty much. So yeah, as we see, we used what we could.
Okay. So after that, the next big step was introducing the sterilizer to our working process. Because we were cooking all the substrate with the substrate that we then added also to the coffee. We experimented then with we experimented also with straw, but there was a side thing, mainly with sawdust. Then we got local sawdust, then also pine pellets. So, and we were sterilizing that in 2 pressure cookers, which is very time consuming.
Yeah.
So we knew, okay, if we want to grow, we need that was very time consuming. And that was also the turning point where I thought, okay, if we can improve that, we can expand a lot. So Diogo was building also this sterilizer. From what?
It was a container used to make bread, stainless steel container. I found it in these second-hand markets, on online markets. Someone was selling it. I believe it was 1 meter by 1 meter, and the price was pretty good. So we just took it, isolated it with this. This is isolation for the houses. You can use many different things, but basically this worked the best, in my opinion. They were not that expensive. They are thick. I think people use it even to make industrial fridges or freezers. So yeah, we put it around, made these holes. We connected the water on the bottom, made a hole in the container.
That's another question.
Yeah, the question, Nelson, maybe you can ask.
Yeah, sorry, I just don't want to interrupt that
Yes.
part. But did you measure the temperature, the
Of
maximum
the container?
Yeah.
Yes. We left it. I mean, it was not pressurized, so it would never go over 100 degrees. This was it's not really. I think the name is, or the right name is not sterilization, but pasteurization, because it doesn't go up to 121 degrees because it's not pressurized, and it doesn't take. If you pressurize it 120 degrees, you have to cook it around 1 hour and a half, and this we let it on for 24 hours. We wanted it to be above 80 degrees for 12. But as it was a big volume, it took time to warm up, and then we let it be those hours at that temperature, high temperatures.
So maybe to understand also the installation a bit better, is on the bottom. It's basically a big box, and on the bottom you have water.
Yeah,
and
the
then
pipe,
there's a
pipe.
wait, maybe here. Yeah.
Yes,
You can see the mouse. Yeah.
Yeah, we can see the mouse. Yeah.
So the water flows in through this pipe, And then there's a, how's it called?
Yeah, there
Pail?
was automatic valve.
Valve, yeah.
Yeah, metallic valve where the water would go up and then it would stop the water coming in. So it would keep the water at always the same level. And then you see the wires here. In the inside, it's a resistance that you find on these electric heaters for water. Yeah, so on the inside was one of these resistances warming up the water. And then we had a grid on top.
Yes. So we had a grid and then wood
above the water.
And this is where we would put the bag on
bags.
top of.
And let's say outside your, let's say your work, your hours of work and your experience in building these things, how much it costs in parts, in the parts that you bought?
The most expensive on this, in this case, is the container, or was the container. We paid 150 euros, which I don't find expensive at all. And you cannot see in the photo, but it already came with a hose where we could extract the water, a hose in the bottom to clean. It's amazing. And it came with wheels, which helped it to move it around. So it was a no-brainer. We just took it. Okay, so that was around 150 euros. I think the isolation cost us around 30 euros. 2 plaques of, they were 3 meters long. These ones here, and it was around 15 euros each. I think we took 2. The resistance, 20 something. So I think overall 300, between 300, yeah, or 350, something like that. Also, we had to buy the hoses and so on.
And you said in the video, in the course, we share the volume. You can put 50 bags of 3 kilos,
bags.
right?
Yes.
We can put 150 kilos of substrate at once. 50 bags of 3 kilos each. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And so for you to have an idea, this is a very big pressure cooker, 18 liters. One of these cost us 120 euros. We had 2. They are very expensive. Maybe now it's even more. This was 2021. We had 2, and each of these we could put 3 bags. We could put 3 bags inside. And all of the work involved with 1 hour and a half, wait it for it to cool down, take the bags to the lab, fill it again, wait again, and so on and so on, to make 3 bags. And this, we fill it at once, 50 bags. We have to wait longer. Yes, we have to wait 24 hours. But it's just that we press a button, it turns on, we wait, and then in the end we just take it off directly to the lab, and that's it.
Yeah. And in the small autoclave, you just did the delicate things, let's say, like the liquid cultures and the
Yes.
Yeah.
But the grain, you also sterilize the grain in the big one, right? Or just in the
No, the grain.
We tried that. We tried that, but we figured out that the grain worked better in the pressure cooker.
Yeah.
So we continued with that.
Yeah,
It was fine with the amount of spawn we produced. That was okay.
So let's say the tank, you use it for the substrate.
Substrate, yes,
Yeah.
yes, for the big quantities. And the grain was never that much to cook.
Yeah.
One pressure cooker, or it was enough, or maybe twice a week, something like that.
Yeah, and I think that's interesting because the course is actually about how you can do your own spawn, right?
Yes.
And if you do your own spawn, you don't really need to produce that much, because you have to produce the substrate is the thing that is the volume, right? So
Yes.
it's okay.
So, and these are the first photos now of the fruiting room in the final, let's say, kind of final state. So yeah, Diogo we built the shelves with this plastic pipes.
You use canalization or to water systems, basically. You can find it in the water section in the hardware store.
And the shelves going around the whole room. And we had, as you can see here, this silver pipe. This is basically the pipe that pumps in the oxygen and the humidity. So this pipe has holes, as you can see here, and feeds, let's say, the mushrooms with oxygen and humidity.
Okay. And what about the light? Because I mean, normally you need light, and you have light. What was your experience with light, and how mushroom react to it?
To be honest, we didn't find a big difference. We did even the experience with one light on. There was also, I have to say, there was light always, even without artificial. We had a window. We can see it even in one of the photos. We have a window to this fruiting room. The thing, if we don't have artificial light, we will see the ones that are facing back of, like the back facing this artificial light, they will bend a bit towards it, but the rest will be fine. And basically, we did a research. We found that daylight, I don't remember what is the temperature of the light in kelvins, but it is daylight temperature. I don't know exactly how to say it. Yeah, we found that it was the best to use, and we bought a couple of lamps.
We bought 4. So the fruiting room has 4 lamps.
Yeah.
So 2 on this side of the pipe, and then 2 on the other side of the pipe.
Yeah. LED.
Yeah.
We bought LED. We never had any problem.
Ivan is asking, don't you have a problem of contamination storing a bunch of substrates trying to fructify?
In the fruiting?
Now in this
In-
stage?
Yeah, he's asking about contamination in the fruiting room, let's say, in the greenhouse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What we had in the first and second flush was very rare to get a contamination in the fruiting room. The problem we had was afterwards, like in the third flush, fourth flush. So inside the fruiting, we would always fruit only twice, like first and second flush, and then take them out because they will start contaminating. They would become weaker, and then we would, if we would leave them there, it would start to contaminate the rest of the bags.
But with the sterilizer made a big difference, because after that we had almost no contamination. Yeah.
I think just about that, I think that was one of the most great, the best tips I have ever seen about the greenhouse, because normally you want to fructify your bags the most possible amount, let's say, so 3 times, 4 times is the best, maybe even 5 times I have heard, but you like understood that if you just let them grow 2 times and then put new ones, it's like more efficient, and obviously they still have energy, right? But you have your own space, let's say in the compost area or your
Yeah.
and I think that, I mean, if you make the numbers and the projections and works really well for you and for your production, actually it pumps up the efficiency, let's say, of your small, let's say in this small space, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because the first and second flush was where we would take around 80% or 90% of the total production of each bag. And because we have a very small space, we wanted to take this bag out to put a new one to produce even more. And we found another problem, especially in the summer, spring and summer. It was with insects. And we read that, for example, the flies, when they put an egg, it takes around 28 days for this egg to grow. And then if we had one bag that we just put in bitten or some fly put an egg there, we had to take it before 1 month, or the kids will be alive, or they will be born inside the fruiting, and then it will exponentially increase. So it helped a lot as well. There was in the beginning some bags that we did the third and fourth flush inside, and those were the ones full of insects. So we realized that it was not an option for us.
Yeah,
And,
that's yeah.
So
it's clean.
you reduce your contamination.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
also with the insects, exactly, we also focus more on keeping everything even more clean. I mean, this is something you have to do anyways to keep the space very tidy and clean. And what else? We bought if you have problems with flies, at some point we bought this stripes for flies that helped. And we would clean it often, and we would vacuum them out. That helped to get rid of them, and then it was quiet.
Efficient.
Yeah. And then just make sure that they don't have any space, any place to breed and to lay down their eggs.
Okay.
Yeah, this on the left is the container already evolved from the one we saw before. This was already a bigger fan. I think it is 800 cubic feet per meter of flow. And inside there is a atomizer that is basically the humidifier. You can find it easier. Is a ultrasonic humidifier. Is some discs that break up the water and create humidity. And basically, it also had a water entrance. This barrel with a level to keep it always at the same height. The humidifier in the bottom, connected to a sensor, which will tell it like turn on in certain range of humidity that we preselected. And the fan will suck the air from this window that you see on the left, and then pump it inside the floating room already with the humidity that we wanted.
Yeah, so oxygen from outside in. Here we would add the humidity, and then it will flow into the fruiting, basically. And here on the photo, you can see, I mean, before you saw the silver pipe on top of the fruiting. And once the room was completely filled with bags and mushrooms, we added the tube here on the bottom, the black one. You can see with these holes. Because we wanted to improve the oxygen flow, or the flow of fresh air. So this pipe basically would extract the CO2, the old air. So the CO2 is heavier and it would sink on the bottom. This is why the tube is on the bottom, and we would
help to renovate the air.
Yeah.
After some time, we will see the holes made in the tube white because of all the spores that it was sucking out as well. And we have to clean, especially that fan, we had to clean it often because of that. It was full of spores. But
Good question.
Some question?
No.
Okay. Yeah, and this is the shelf where we would store basically the inoculated substrate, the inoculated bags. They would sit in these shelves. So there are 2 bags behind each other, and they would sit there for between 10 to 14, 15 days, depending also on the temperature. The warmer, the faster they grow. So in winter, they would take a little bit longer, more than 15 days. And then once they would be completely white, so the mycelium would have made his way through the sawdust, we would bring them in the fruiting and open them.
Okay. Just one thing there. You said, I remember that, I mean, we were in summer, So the temperature was like oscillating like between 20, 22 maybe and 26, and you didn't really have to control it, right? To control the temperature, but sometimes it was, I mean, more than 30 degrees or something like that. You had problems with that, or yeah?
Yeah, when it was above 30, it was problematic, and we would increase the humidity also, because the higher the humidity, we found out that the temperature would decrease. And as we were saying before, we started to put ice in the water of the humidifier, and these buckets of water inside the fruiting also to cool down the air.
And what we did with the inoculated bags that were now outside of the fruiting, we tried to keep them, if it would be hot, try to keep them on the ground, because the ground is cool in the garage. So not to pile them up, but keep them on the ground. Sometimes if it was too hot, we would also put them in the kitchen, but that didn't happen often, really.
And we also put the sheets on top of the garage
to give shade.
to shade the roof,
Yeah.
and also we would water the sheet to cool down the roof, and we would see the vapor coming out. It would help a lot. Just for one watering, it would decrease around 2 degrees the temperature inside the fruiting. It was impressive.
It's
Okay,
not,
nice.
yeah,
It's not
not
something.
sustainable, not a long-term solution, but
Yes.
for the moment it helped.
It was not always. It was not every day. So
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And this was the photo that I mean, or the image, or the scenario that I engaged, let's say, we did a lot, because I was like walking in the street, and then I saw that, and I was like, there's my people, yeah. Like, there's not cultivators there. Yeah, so that was awesome.
we have
Oh,
to
nice.
figure out. This is a lot to figure out, and
Yeah, the picture is really nice. You
we
made it,
learn along the
Nelson.
way.
Oh,
And you can see that there was the exit of the garage. So we would take the bags out from the fruiting. Once they are flushed twice, we would bring them out, store them in bags and containers, and then bring them to the land 2 minutes from us. We have a small piece of land we can use there, a garden. So, and then we would either, as you can see on the right side, we will flush them again, pile them up, flush them again, and use them for our own consumption or give them to friends. And we made also some art with it.
Yeah, these columns.
Yeah.
It was pretty good.
It was fun to experiment with it. And also here you can see on the left side, if we would just leave them there, they would flush again. But I mean, at the very end, we would open them once they're flushed again, and take the plastic out, and then spread them. You can see on the right side there, they're not spread yet, but spread them basically on the land. So we use them to mulch, for example. We use them to create pathways. We added them to the soil to enrich the soil. Yeah.
And then at some point, another mushroom will pop up here and there after rains.
And we also cooperated. We started, let's say, cooperate with farmers that were close by as well. So we gave them the substrate as well, and they used it to nourish and mulch their soil, their fields.
Okay, nice. We have other.
And people get veggies from them, so.
like a trade.
Yeah.
Something like. Okay. I think, I have some question, but Maria is asking, actually, how many types of mushrooms can you cultivate at the same time? Can you use the waste? Can you use the waste? Maybe I think what Maria is asking is like, I mean, first, how many types of mushrooms can you cultivate at the same time in the same space, let's say?
We would adapt. In our case, we would adapt depending on the season of the year. In the summer, the oyster, it was all year round. It is very versatile. We found a spore that was good for low and high temperatures. The ranger was very big. But in case we also grew
Florida, the white one.
Yeah, that one mostly for the summer.
Yeah.
Also a oyster. But the Citrinopiliatus, the
golden.
Yes. I don't know the other name. Golden, I don't know. I don't remember the other name.
The golden oyster.
Yes, golden and the pink.
Yeah.
They are much better for the summer. So in the summer season, we would also grow those. And in the winter, we will grow normal oyster and lion's mane. Lion's mane above 22 degrees doesn't grow so well. So we would grow it in autumn and winter.
Also, shiitake, we would get from a friend, like the blocks, and we would fruit them as well, but more during the winter time until spring. In summer, they would grow, but not in a good amount. So yeah, we adapted the strains and to the temperature. And then
one, I mean, maybe with this question also, how many, I mean, all these varieties that you are talking about, did you cultivate all them with liquid cultures, right? Or not every strain is adapted to this kind of technique?
All of them are adapted
All
to
of them.
liquid culture technique. And all of them except the shiitake, we inoculated. The only reason we didn't inoculate the shiitake was because the shiitake takes double time to be ready. Once you inoculate the substrate, instead of 15 days to be fully grown, it takes 1 month to 2 months.
3 months. Yeah.
It takes a very long time, and we had a problem with space. We could not have a bag waiting there, take space of others.
Yeah.
So we just started to buy bags already inoculated from a friend. But all of them can be started as a agar, liquid culture, to spawn, then to substrate.
Okay. We also have, I mean, another question from Ivan, but Maria, the second part of the question was like, can you use the waste sometimes? And I think she's referring maybe to the fruit. I mean, because the waste or the ones that you put away are fruiting, right? So the fruit you also use or not?
Yes.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I think, yes, the fruits from the photos we used for our own consumption,
Uh-huh.
or we gave it to friends who knew about it. Like
Okay,
as
okay.
giveaway. Yeah. We wouldn't
And
sell them, but
yeah, for sure.
yeah.
And the other thing is like, maybe I'm interpreting the question. Can you use the waste of I mean, you already said it, how you use it, right? But maybe you can use it for cultivating other mushrooms?
Yes, I mean, you can do it. Basically, the mushroom is a mycelium in a fruit form. So if you go into the lab, you take a mushroom into the lab, you can start and clone it. You take a piece of the mushroom, you can put the.
I think you mean the substrate, no?
The substrate, yeah.
Substrate.
Like the waste substrate.
You could, but it's at this stage it's contaminated. The contamination rate, if you want to expand it, the contamination rate probably it will be higher. But yes, the live mycelium is weaker. That's why contamination rate will be higher. It's already fruited twice and 3 times.
Yeah.
Then it starts to lose its energy.
Yeah, of course. Maybe sometimes some of these substrates that are wasted or they don't have more energy can be used for cultivating as a substrate for other kind of mushrooms like agaricus or actually psilocybin mushrooms or other
even
kind of
shiitake can grow.
Shiitake too.
Yes.
Oh, wow. That's
You could sterilize it again.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yes.
So I mean, maybe you need autoclaving there to really kill them, but or yeah, I haven't tried that much, but it's interesting. Ivan is asking, how did you dispose of contaminated substrates or any other wastes, composting or pay for disposing?
We dispose it the same way. The contamination is just is not a bad thing actually. I mean, it's bad if we are breathing it, or it's bad if it's in our food. But actually, for the land, it's a good thing.
Actually, it helps to break down. Their studies about it. That it also helps to break down the organic matter.
Yes.
Yeah. And if you have trichoderma, we call them
Exactly.
It's
the
a
Yeah.
basic
nightmare
of
of
farms.
the
Yeah.
cultivators, but yeah.
There is
With further
cultivation
study.
of trichoderma, just like factories making this trichoderma just for
Yeah,
farmers.
Yeah.
tons of trichoderma. Yeah, actually,
Yes,
yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
So is we changed our way of seeing things. It's
Yeah.
not a contamination as a bad thing in itself.
It depends on the context.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's not always bad, it's not always good. It's the context.
Yeah. Actually, I have a friend that we used to cultivate together, like I don't know, 5 years ago, and we have a really tough season of contamination, but it was a really tough trichoderma. So he was wondering, he was a microbiologist, so he was wondering, this may be a really good trichoderma strain to start producing. And actually, he later developed a business out of trichoderma production. I mean,
Yeah.
other strains, but I think he was inspired from our failure,
Yeah.
our
Yeah.
problems.
Nice.
Helps a lot.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
learn more from failure than from the successes.
Yeah, of course. But that was fun. Edwin, it's Edwin. I don't know if you're seeing this, but that was an awesome time.
Yes, as I
Okay.
saw. Thanks.
Amazing.
Okay. So are there more questions or should we continue?
Let me see. You can continue. Yeah, you can continue.
Basically,
So yeah, now we sum it up. We
yes.
wrap it up, all the pictures you've seen. So I'm not sure if we said it already. The garage, all in all, is like 4 and 8 meters.
4x8, yes.
4x8, yes.
And the footing 2x2 for the ones who don't remember.
Yeah. So and basically this is how we organize the space.
At
Yeah,
the
we
same,
would come.
at the same time, that we were producing mushrooms, it was
Yeah.
also used as a washing room for clothes. So the space was all especially in the top part was shared.
Washing room, but also workshop.
Yeah,
There were
all the
also
tools.
tools, and so we had to make compromises.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we would enter here. This is the main enter from the garden, okay, main entrance. We would here pack our mushrooms. That would be kind of the working area to after the harvest to pack them, and here basically is the lab. So this is the lab. Here's the entrance. You can see this is the pre-room, let's say, the dress room.
The lab coat area.
Exactly,
Yes.
the lab coat area. And the mask area. Yeah, and here you can see the lab with the table. And here we had the fridge. And it was really nice to have the fridge there. We put it there because we had also space, but every day we would just pass by and check naturally. Really good to have liquid cultures, agar, spawn, everything that you need to check often to have it close by that you pass it anyways. Helped us
Yes.
in the daily routine.
It's
Yeah,
not
then
only check. If you have agar, it's good to break it up. In the jars, we forgot to mention, but we would
Spawn.
also, in the jar of liquid culture, we would add stones or broken glass, so it will be easier to break up, yes, the mycelium. And that if you shake it every day or every 2 days is good. Otherwise, it will clump together. And then when you are trying to suck it out with a syringe, it will just, your syringe will always be blocked.
Yeah.
And then you have to put it inside again and try again and again. If you break it up, it will be much easier.
Yeah.
Okay. So then here on the right side, we installed, it's a mix of shelves for the workshop, but also the shelf for the inoculated bags with the final substrate. So this was that area. And here we would enter our preparation space for sterilizing the substrate. So here we would basically pack. We would have water from the water barrel you saw earlier. We also had a tube to have water while we were packing the bags. We had the pine pellets in a
Pine pellets were here in this
in a
area.
trash bin.
The
No,
pine
no,
pellets were piled up here, and then the grain we had it in this barrel.
Yes, and we also had the soy hulls in the barrels.
In soil hole, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that was, yes, also our
The pellets, wood pellets.
where we would store our pellets and our material. And here the sterilizer that you saw on the photos and the humidifier, because here was the window. So from here we would enter into the fruiting. And you can see this here this is Diogo checking the mushrooms.
This is Diogo. Here
In
is
the
Wiebke.
Just to imagine a bit
Wiebke is here.
the scale, and I'm packing mushrooms.
It's packing.
Yeah. So, and yeah, from here, from the fruiting, we would bring out the wasted bags, let's say, to the street. This is the photo you saw.
Yes. From once we had the bags sterilized, we would straight away take them to the lab. Closed. We will not open them. We would only open them in front of the Flowhood. And once we had them in the lab, we would also spray them with bleach just to make sure that we always want to reduce the contamination. Every precaution we can make towards that, we do it.
One question there, when you say bleach, is like alcohol or it's like chlorine or what is bleach?
Water with bleach. The same thing we would put in the lab. We would just spray the bags. We would spray the bags and the fruiting with bleach a bit. But they were closed. We didn't open the bags.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, to sterilize the surfaces of the
Yes.
things.
It's like alcohol. We could use alcohol.
I can't remember that. We used alcohol mainly, like we used water with bleach to sterilize the lab before we would enter and work there. So, and that was also when the bags from the sterilizer were there already. Okay, they would be sprayed as well.
Yes.
And then in the lab, working itself with agar and liquid culture and the stuff, we would use alcohol.
Yes.
With
for our hands and material.
a high percentage of alcohol.
Okay.
And you were saying something else before. Yeah, so this was the working flow, basically from the sterilizer. The bags would cool down, we would bring them in the lab, pile them up here, inoculate them, and then bring them to the shelf. And then from the shelf, they would go back to the fruiting. At some point we changed, this is the setting as you know it, Nelson. At some point we changed the entrance. We changed the door and had the entrance over here because the ways would be shorter.
Okay. So you close the other door and you open a new one, something like that. Okay. And one question is interesting because you have, I mean, the bottleneck of the process is like the maybe the greenhouse, right?
Yes, the bottleneck was the greenhouse, the space.
And how much bags did you store in the shelves incubator in the incubation phase?
So in all, we did some changes. Sometimes the bag was not. It was like not a square. It was a rectangle. So in the beginning, we put them with a big surface facing us, and then after we put them on the side, and we put them all on the side, which would double the capacity of bags per shelf. Yeah, overall, in the end, we managed to put around 200, 250 of bags inside.
In the fruiting now, or?
In the fruiting.
Is your question in the fruiting or on the shelf?
I'm asking in the incubator in the incubation shelves. I mean, the question is like what's the difference between the volume of the capacity of the shelves, the incubation shelves in the fruiting space?
So in the incubation we had around 100 bags.
Yeah.
But separated. For example, we would every week inoculate 50. And then second week 50. And every week we had some ready and some in the middle.
Okay.
Basically, it was like that. We would every week put 15 in,
Yeah.
prepare 15 new. So we would cook once a week. We were cooking. So we had capacity in cooking. This process took us 24 hours to cook.
Mhm.
We could do it maximum 7 times a week. But we didn't have capacity in the fruiting. Even though taking them on the second flush, it was 50 bags a week we would take out.
But still you were harvesting like 20 kilos per week, you said?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's I mean that's great for a 2 meter square room.
Yeah.
It's pretty good. Okay, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, then we will take all the substrate from the outside door. This will be the exit of the substrate, and pretty much that was our production.
Bring it to the land.
Yeah, and bring it to the land.
Maybe what is also interesting, what we can add here. Once we had figured out the oyster, we also started with the lion's mane, or we focused more on the lion's mane. And because the fruiting, we wanted to keep using the fruiting as it was, full of oyster, Diogo built some shelves next to the house because it was at the time in autumn where it started to rain in Porto. And it was sheltered, basically, it was shaded and sheltered between two walls, so we could build shelves. And then we fruited the lion's mane there, and it worked really, really well during autumn and winter.
Yes.
Okay, interesting. I think lion's mane in particular is a really interesting mushroom. I mean, obviously to grow and also to consume. It's like magic. It's really interesting.
We were amazed.
But okay, my friends, we have overcome the time, but I would like to have some minutes with the students that are already, they were still in the call to interact if they want a little bit. But hey,
Last one.
that's a great that's a great picture. Yeah. So 2 years from now, no, 1.5 years, sort of. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, what an adventure. It was again, it was awesome to meet you guys. And I hope we can still, I mean, collaborate in the future, maybe do some other stuff together, and also to you can meet my friends here, the students and the mushroom cultivators. Actually, some of them are doing really interesting things, and I think like the community is about sharing and maybe connecting with people that we can engage and interact. Ivan is saying thank you for this amazing presentation. Maybe we can say it in a few minutes. Just let me. Hola, otra vez en español un segundo. Un gusto amigos que nos están acompañando ahorita en YouTube. Esperamos poderlos ver más adelante. También seguiremos haciendo webinars, espero yo, hablando de este tema. Ahorita fue en inglés porque Diogo y Wiebke pues en inglés, pero lo pondremos en subtítulos en la plataforma. Así que si están interesados en estos temas, vayan a los cursos de Micólogo. Pueden verlos en Instagram, pueden verlos aquí en los comentarios que dejamos. Y este curso lo hicimos juntos con mucho amor y con Camilo, que también estaba por aquí. Y eso nada más. Nos vemos la próxima. Los estudiantes aquí nos quedamos un ratito y nos vemos en la siguiente transmisión. Chao, chao. And I don't know, Diogo, if you want to say something to say goodbye to our friends in YouTube. We are going to stay a little bit with our friends here just to say goodbye and maybe ask some questions. But if you want to say something to the YouTube people.
I would say that if you're starting, don't give up. It's not easy, but it's rewarding, and you'll learn a lot, and also about yourself, to make processes better, to take care of cleanliness. And that was the issue for me, especially.
I think that is something I would say, yeah. Tidiness and to keep it tidy and clean is great. and also in terms of workflow, documenting workflows, time, numbers, because that helps you, processes that helps you at some point to figure out what is the most time consuming, where can I shortcut?
Yeah.
And also to cooperate. I mean, this is, you know, as you said, we know each other for 1.5 years and we're still in contact, we're still doing things together. And this is also what we're doing with growers in Porto area, in the north of Portugal, which is amazing because we just support each other and
Keep
and
learning.
grow the network.
Keep learning. Bring it on.
Keep learning.
Fruits and mushrooms.
Awesome. And go
Much
to the
love.
Much
go
love.
to the Diogo and Wiebke's course to see more about this stuff. Okay,
Yes.
so bye amigos. Chao,
All
chao.
of
Nos
the
vemos
information
en la
there.
próxima. Un abracito.
Bye.
A todos.
Bye.
Bye. Finalizar transmisión. Nos quedamos un segundito aquí. Yo creo que ya lo cerré. I think.